Hey guys, good afternoon. Welcome to this episode of the Malkan show. And very much, I missed you guys last Wednesday where I was stuck and then Vishal had to take a session. But I believe it was a wonderful session. There were a lot of questions and they were answered well by Vishal. And there were a lot of follow up questions as well after the show as comments on that we received later after the show. So, welcome to the show. And based on the feedback of what we got, and based on the questions of what people were asking last time, that I've come out with the topic of this show, today's show. But before we begin, let's see who's joining us from where, guys, are pouring in. Please tell where are you joining us. And yes, good afternoon, guys. So we have Girish, we have Satish. No, Mohammed, good afternoon. Sir, nahi hai. This is ma'am. So this is me again back in the show. And I'm excited. We've again got this 3-day program beginning tomorrow, and the whole office, the entire team is busy preparing for it. I'm busy preparing for it. So is Vishal. So it's an exciting week for us. Yes. And yes. So last time, guys, when you had the Q&A session with Vishal, the attendees on the show had a few questions. I mean, quite some of them on managing your time, and to which Vishal had a few replies there. And then when he asked about, the topic that they'd like to see, this was a common topic that came up. So let's speak about time today. Before we jump into the topic, does anyone like to address what is that common challenge that we are having with time? The universal challenge that all of us have with time. I have two. I've been through that. I have two. So what is that one challenge that you're facing with your time? I mean, either it could be not enough time, or it could be don't know how to prioritize things. Kya zyada zaruri hai, kya nahi hai? Is it that, or what is it? Can you come out with your challenge in time? What's your challenge been? Come on. What's your main challenge with time? When it comes to not doing a task, or when it comes to not having the time to do the task, what is it that's there? Okay. So Radhika says too many distractions. Yes. Too many distractions. Yes, that could be one thing. Too many distractions, which means we have a lot of things to do and too little time. Too many things are there to take away your attention, right? Not enough time, not leaving you enough time to do what's important, right? What else is there? So Amar says, don't know how to prioritize time, which means kya pehle karna hai, what do you have to do, what task to do first and what to do later. That's the priority thing. So that's one of the major challenge. You're right. Girish shares personal commitments hinders time management. Yes, because can I reframe it by saying a overload of personal commitments? I mean, you have been committing a lot of things, but they are a part of your personal bunch of commitment, but that goes over and above the bunch of what you can handle. That's overload of personal commitment. Yes, true. Passion. I'm not able to get this. How come passion is something that is too many important tasks? Yes, Panjara shares too many things to do, too many important things, right? So this is a very interesting thing. Now let me get back right here. Okay, emotions are in a way emotions because you want to be doing justice to everything. You have been saying yes to a lot of people. You want to be there and present for a lot of people. That's the emotional thing that really bars you. So when it really comes there, let's see now how do we jump in? The thing is, when you talk about managing your time, the paradox is, it's an oxymoron. You cannot manage your time. Time is something that's there. Considering that all of us have 24 hours and the best of the high achievers have done what they could in that same span of 24 hours. What you can do is you can only learn to prioritize your time and not manage your time, which means what is important to do first and then leave the later to the rest. That is where the challenge comes in. How do we do that while you're trying to prioritize things? The first challenge is you don't know what to prioritize. The second challenge is, as someone rightly mentioned, there are a lot of distractions happening. Lot of things that are trying to take your focus away from the main thing, so that main thing is no longer the main thing, and then there are a whole lot of things. So let's talk about first these common time vampires. What are these things that are really keeping you stuck into your zone We're not able to focus on what you should be focusing. And the first, guys, in the current times, the thing that tops the list is your social media. I know it may be sounding cliched or maybe sounding something that you've been hearing a lot all the time, but that's true, guys. Your social media, the time that you spend on your social media, it's not about the time that you're spending. It's about when are you getting that time out for social media and the quantum of time that you're getting it. For some people, the business runs on social media. You have to promote yourself or your products or your services. You need to market yourself. You need to know what people outside are doing. That's a business use of social media, which is part of your business. But the main part of social media, which most of us get consumed in, is seeing what others are doing and the advertorials, etc. The whole thing goes for a toss, and that's the biggest time sucker. You can experiment this yourself. Just switch on an Insta thing. Suppose you log in into an Instagram thinking that let me take a break from what I'm doing, let me go to Instagram for 5 minutes, check the feed, and then come back. You will never be back in those 5 minutes that you designated, in spite of you keeping an alarm or something. It's not possible. Feed leads after the feed, and then one video leads to the other, and there you are completely sucked into it. So your Facebook account, your Facebook feeds, your Instagram feeds, your Twitter feeds, or your YouTube or Google is something that is keeping you all the time. So that is the major time vampire I'm talking about. The second one that is with most of us, is Saraju time vampire, is to tell no to people. That you cannot. It's your inability to tell no to a lot of people or a lot of things. There are these set of friends who want you to be there for a cup of coffee. There are your kids trying to take you out to a park. There's your husband asking for, or your spouse asking for something. There are these colleagues at office asking for something. There is this whole self-care thing that you've always been avoiding or shoving away. So many things are trying to take your attention. What do you say no to? The thing is, you put yourself on the pedestal, and then you have to, whatever it is on priority goes behind. And when it comes to others, just because you're not able to say no, you just do things for the heck of it. So when you're not able to say no, that's another vampire. That's the second vampire. The third vampire is, procrastination. You keep procrastinating. A lot of people come with this thing, that I have this habit, I keep procrastinating. Do you know where this procrastination comes from? It comes from a sheer lack of priority. Once again, the priority is in play. When you do not prioritize certain tasks, that's when you keep on procrastinating, right? And so those are the three major vampires. And then when you have to create a block of all the smaller tiny things that really act as your time vampires, it could be your Netflix series. So many people I'm speaking to a lot of people who are addicted to these kind of series. So your series, and you never end with one episode. There are these seasons which contain episodes and which contain, there are like multiple seasons, with each season having so many episodes. There's nothing wrong with watching them, but the thing is, where and how do you watch them? One sucks you into the other. So that's one of the things into the miscellaneous list which keeps you out. The second is your telephone interruptions. People taking calls. You do not have any schedule of taking those calls. Some of these calls may lead into gossip, which is another time consumer. One more thing could be inadequate planning, where you just don't plan for things. You take each day as it comes. So these are all the things, which are most common part of your daily life, but they just go unnoticed. You have no clue when that Facebook thing is taking your time, when that call from your friend, when you started gossiping without even realizing that is taking your time. So these are all the things. How do you stop them? You don't begin by working to stop them. You begin by doing other things which we're going to discuss here. But the more important thing is, the more you realize that this is a time vampire, and the more you are focused on, weeding out these time vampires from your day, the better you'll do in prioritizing your things and working better at managing your time. That's what it is. So these are all set of things that comes to time vampire. How many of you can relate to all of these or some of this, and which is the most predominant thing for you? Which is the most predominant thing for you? when it comes to managing, when it comes to these time vampires? Can you pick up one or two things which you can relate to? Okay, this is it, for me, this is the biggest vampire. What is that for you guys? Please comment. What has been your vampire till now? Can you realize something? Does it strike a chord that, yes, this is thing that is really keeping me away? Yes, so I have my office sharing. One day and someday are not part of the week. This goes so perfect with the procrastination thing. I'll do it one day. I'll do it someday. That's how it is. Social media is the biggest time vampire. How many of us have this time vampire? Social media all the while. People who post on social media may not even be aware of what you are, who is watching and who is commenting or who is liking, but we are so interested in what's happening outside. We can't stop doing it with the Facebook, we can't stop rolling down our Facebook. So that's it. Someone's asking on options. We are discussing time right now. Can we take up these questions later? Thank you. Netflix versus educational videos. Yes, when you choose to have Netflix, you can choose to have educational videos sometimes instead of Netflix. Average people look for entertainment. Successful people look for education. So true. When you read about these successful people, or when you try to know how they are managing their day, including Warren Buffett, they are more into reading rather than watching series, etc. Right? The biggest time vampire is social calls. Yes, for so many of us, these have been the biggest time vampires. So what do? You know why the necessity to manage time? I'll tell you one important thing. So Balaji shares inability to say no in helping others, especially near ones. Yes, all of us like to do that, and all of us must do that, help others. But the thing is, how do you do that and when do you do that? That matters. You can 100% help people with all your resources that you have. I'm sure with good intentions that you have. But the thing is, when you put them in the right priority list, that will help you give more time to them as well as more time to yourself. Giri says, social media can be put to good use. Because of it, I came across Vishal Bhai. Absolutely. That's what I said. Social media is something that can be used. A lot of people use it for their business or doing this. But the thing is, when you don't draw a line of how much is a good use, that's where the problem is. Thank you for sharing. Harish says not prioritizing. Yes, for most of us, that's it when you don't prioritize. Have commenced Facebook account only for Malkan's view, Karthik says. Thank you so much. So I hope you don't get sucked more into that whole thing, because the news feeds can be endless. The videos could be endless. So I wish you good use of social media. Social media has become an addiction. Yes, I from one of our religious gurus, when I attended a meet, a couple of weeks ago, he made a very interesting point. He said that, we have these Alcoholics Anonymous, the kind of groups that that help you get rid of your alcohol symptoms, someone who's an alcohol addict. He says 2 years down the line, we may have, not Alcoholic Anonymous, but we may have Social Addicts Anonymous, where we need to really create a rehabilitation zone for people who are addicted to social media, which is so true. I see people in my own family where they're perennially all the time on the mobile phone, checking their feeds all the time. It's very difficult. I feel pity for those kind of people, because they're not aware how badly they're getting into the whole thing. So okay, one more thing on the decision making thing. I analyze on the stocks after market. I have a very good decision making ability, but when I'm in the market and the stock temporarily go other side, I get panic. I do a lot of mistakes. How to control? Let's have a session on decision making where we can really talk about this topic. Thank you for pointing out, Shashanti. Thank you. So that's it. Why is this? Yes, please ask this question in Tuesday Technical Talk. I think that's a better platform. Why are we so much after time? Of all these resources that you have, what are the resources that we human beings have? The first and the foremost resource is our time. Of course, we have money as an important resource. We have our energy as an important resource. These are the predominant resources that we have. Other than these, the other resources could be your human resources, which you take help from, or your knowledge. But predominantly, you have these three resources. Out of these three, what is renewable and what is finite? If you compare these, then your money can be made. It's a renewable resource. You spend X amount of money, you can make it back. Your energy is renewable. You give yourself proper rest and relaxation and good food, you're back with your energy level. Time is the only resource which is finite, which is limited, because the time once lost cannot be made back. That's the reason we need to focus on time more than anything else. So let's get to clear steps. How do we come about it? How do we do this? The single most important tool that I have been using since a long time, and that's a perfect tool to use. I've even taught my kids to use this tool. Is something for those who have read the book must be. If someone who's aware of the time management quadrant that Stephen Covey mentioned, that's originally devised by Eisenhower. And Stephen Covey mentions this time management quadrant in his books, which is a fantastic tool. So just to show you, this is the matrix that I'm talking about. So this is a quadrant which is divided into 4 parts. So all your activities and your daily activities, beginning from be it your business or your home, personal or professional, any kind of activity, can be divided into these 4 quadrants. Trust me, guys, life becomes so easy once you just start putting all your activities in this quadrant. I'll tell you how. So what you do is the top 2 parts, which means the horizontal vertical, is divided into something called as urgent and not urgent, which means something that needs your attention right now and something that can wait. That's the meaning of urgent and not urgent. On the left side, which means horizontally, the quadrant divided into important and not important. Trust me, there are a whole lot of things which we do, but they are not important for the day. Important as mean you have to do it, of course, but it's not important right now. And that would come into your not important zone. So you have any task, suppose ABC task, suppose you need to visit a person, suppose you need to visit a relative or an employer, anyone, it calls for a social visit. Where does that fall in? You need to buy something for yourself, for your business. Where does that fall in? You have a business meeting coming up. Where does that fall in? You have your daily journaling coming up. Where does that fall in? When you have to write your daily journal, for instance, that is important task for the day. But is that urgent? Yes, that's an urgent task for the day. You need to do your journaling in the morning. You need to do your scheduling in the morning so that your day flows as per your schedule. So that goes into your urgent and important quadrant. It's explained very beautifully by Stephen Covey. You should read his book called First Things First. I strongly recommend you to read the book. He talks very beautifully about this whole time thing that we are trying to talk about. He explains this quadrant very well. So do me a favor, draw this thing on your vision board. I have it right here on my vision board. I try to fill this every single day. And it gives me a peek into a lot of things that I keep doing daily without even realizing. Because sometimes you feel that I need to do this task. But on hindsight, when you do that, you realize that, okay, that task was important, but it was not urgent. If I had to visit a relative, yes, it's important. If it's an ailing relative, yes. But is it urgent for today? Or it can wait till the next Wednesday? So it works that way. So immediately you come to know that that's not the priority for today. And hey, you have freed up your 1 hour, which you could have utilized otherwise. You got extra 1 hour for today. That's the magic of this thing. You can teach it to your kids too. It's a wonderful tool. It's a great idea, Vaishali says. Yes, it is indeed a great idea. So for those who are a lot of people into the Trader in Me program, when we talk about, every day you have to do the program work for minimum 3 to 4 hours. So in that case, your program, a lot of your program would fall into the urgent, important quadrant. Your reading, your back testing, your assignments, your videos, everything falls into the urgent and important quadrant, right? So that helps you get it better. Imagine if you'd be doing this for continuous, 8 months, 9 months into the program. Imagine where your progress would be. It's this fantastic a tool, guys. So try to do this. It's really important. So that's so Karthik shares prioritize versus manage time. Yes. Thank you so much. Yes, this is an important message. It's all about prioritizing and not about managing. Once you get that, every task that you do, your brain will always ring a bell. Is this priority? Do I need to do this today? Or it can wait till tomorrow or till next week or till next month? Or you need never do at all. So this is one of the first to-do thing that you can do. Put this matrix on your vision board. Try to use it every day. The best part, how I do is, in my daily journal, I have sheets of this matrix. Every day when you journal, you have this matrix. So by default, you fill it every day. The second thing is that you can do is what Robin Sharma says is your 1991 thing, which means when you're working, suppose on some very important project or some very important thing which you are the goal for this year, for instance, that big five for 2019, the first 90 minutes of your day you focus only on that thing, and you do this for 90 days in a stretch. That's the 1991 rule. An amazing tool to keep focusing on what you're doing. Right, Robin Sharma has written this excellent book called The 5 a.m. Club. Again, he talks a lot about how do you prioritize a lot of things in your life. It's a recommended thing for you all. And I have been so lucky. I've got one of my students has gifted me this book, which is personally autographed by Robin himself, which is a fantastic thing. So thank you so much, Vaishali. She's done this, and I'm proud to own this book. I've read this book more than once. It's a beautiful book. So go out and read this book. So Stephen Covey, First Things First, Robin Sharma, The 5 a.m. Club, the two books to read on time if you really want to do it. And the third and a very effective tool again is to plan your week in advance, which I see most of us not do it. Even I skip a lot of times, but I can make a clear distinction between the weeks that have been planned versus those weeks which I've missed planning, either because I was traveling or I was socializing on Sundays or I was out with kiddos or whatever. But if I miss that Sunday plan, my week doesn't move the way I really want it to move, the best of it. It doesn't happen that way. So take 1 hour, already it is an hour on Sunday, and plan your activities. Draw your big five for the week. Draw your top 3 priorities for the week. Draw the 3 people. For some of our students, they know the daily priority list. So I convert them into the weekly list. So your big 3 projects, with 3 people that you need to get in touch into, 3 things that you have to get done in this week, no matter what. That's your weekly list. So get into that Sunday planning thing. All you need to do is just give 1 hour every Sunday to plan your week. Is that more? Is that asking for too much time? Just 1 hour and your whole week is sorted. So do that, guys. The first thing that we spoke about is the quadrant, Stephen Covey quadrant. The second one is your 1991, where you every day, the first 90 minutes of your productive time, you focus on your best goal, the big goal that you want to achieve in this year, and do this for a consistent period of 90 days and then see the magic happening. And the third one is take an hour every Sunday to plan the rest of your week. 3 extremely simple things. Do them and then tell me how it's gone for you. We have Kailash asking us, how can I set my mind for anything like trading or education or learning? This is an important thing on the mindset thing. How do you set your mind? Is it in your goal list, first of all? To set your mind on something, you need to put it on your goal list. Is it your big 3 things, big 5 things that you want to achieve for this year? And if it is, and still you're not able to do it, discuss this on TTT, where Vishal will answer this query there. Thank you. Can I put my earlier question on Star Trader or Q&A? Star Trader, Q&A or money flow? You can do that in Tuesday Technical Talk, Shashabri. Thank you so much. Utsas shares, yes, it's First Things First by Stephen Covey. Get that book. And the 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. So guys, do the reading and do these simple things. These are simple steps, nothing complicated about them. Try to do it this week, and please, you feel free to comment and tell us how the show, how it goes with you. Also, it was good to speak on something that you would want me to speak on. Next time, if you have something, I'd love to do that. So if you want me to talk on a particular topic, please keep giving me feedback so that we know what is it that you like me talking about. Thank you so much for being on the show. I'll see you soon. Thank you. All the best.